Hey guys, what's up? It's Neka Agnes Wachiku back here on whiskey and weed. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna change it to podcast diaries. How about that? I think podcast diaries is way better. Because technically I'm not gonna be smoking and drinking all the time. But it's this is just for a wind down time. Maybe on your way back home from work, if you had a long day. It also can be, if you want to, have something to listen to on your way to work, or it can be on your chill time, whichever one. But basically, we're going to call it podcast diaries. Like I said last time, we just talk about some real things that we've been through, things that, certain people are going through, things that a lot of people go through. The first thing I'm gonna talk about today. Let's just dive right back into it. Let's get straight to the point. My thoughts on women using their pussy as revenge. That's the first thing we're gonna talk about. And the reason why I'm talking about this topic is because I see frequently on social media a lot of dudes get upset when women, have sex with another man just to get back at them. That's what they think. A lot of dudes, they make social media posts about how it's lame as shit for a woman to use her pussy as revenge. It's lame as shit for a woman to give her pussy up, and not keep her pussy for her, for the man. Now, for me, you gotta kind of think outside the box when it comes to this type of statement. When people say it's lame or it's whack for a female to give up her pussy, just to get back at a dude, well, you gotta look at it from different perspectives. Now, if she's with him, if she's currently in a relationship, if she's currently married, or if she's currently in a long-term relationship, and maybe her dude or her man or her husband makes her mad, right? And she goes out and she has sex with another man because she's angry with her spouse or her significant other. Now, that's whack as shit. That's lame as hell, because you still have a commitment to that person. You still are committed to that person, especially if you're still married. Just because your spouse makes you mad, that don't mean that you should go out and cheat. Now, I know it's easier said than done. I know a lot of people thinking like, well, are you married? No, I'm not a relationship guru. I'm gonna give you this disclaimer. I am not a relationship guru. I just been through some things, and I have gone through some experiences, and I know a couple of people who have been through some things, so I can speak on this, based off of my experience. I put it like this. Let me give an example. This is where I disagree. It's not considered revenge. It's not considered whack as hell, or, fake as hell, or, lame as hell if a female sleeps with another man after her significant other. Now, this is when it's excusable. This is when it's okay. If her significant other is telling her this is not working out, if her spouse says, I want a divorce, if your significant other is cutting ties with you and telling you we can't get married, we're no longer, we can no longer go about, in a relationship, then what else are you supposed to do? Stay stuck on a man? Why would a woman stay stuck on a man just for him to keep telling her every year, we're not doing this, we're not getting married, I don't think marriage is the best thing at this moment, I'm not, ready for commitment. You got all types of things. If a man keeps telling you, I'm not ready for commitment, if a man keeps telling you, I'm not ready for commitment, why would you be delusional and stay in a relationship? If anything, you should get your ass up and get the fuck on, because he's telling you over and over again, I don't want to commit, right? Right, so it's not considered revenge if she moves on with her life, because the man that she was in love with told her, we can't get married, told her it's not the right time to get married, told her maybe I'm not ready for a commitment. So what is she supposed to do? Stay stuck and stupid? No, you got to get on. You got to move on with your life. And, hopefully you meet a new man, or vice versa, a man, well, we're specifically talking about women, giving up their vagina or giving up their pussy for revenge. Basically, what I'm trying to say is not to, go on and on about this specific subject. If a woman is not in a committed relationship with a man, if it's a situationship where, they do relationship things, but it's not a commitment, she has every right to move on with her life, because I feel like she's settling. And as a queen, you shouldn't settle for less. You should always want the best. Never settle for less. Always want the best. Never settle for less. Always go after the best, because you deserve it. We all deserve that as queens. But anyway, let's tap back into my next topic. Men giving full disclaimers. Please. A disclaimer is when you give somebody notification. You let them know specific things about you that we need to be aware of. So what I'm trying to say is men giving full disclosures, meaning, I know it's kind of like silly, but I feel like when a woman meets a man, I feel like there should be something on her phone that pops up. You know what I'm saying? Like something that pops up that gives you some type of full, disclaimer on the man that she just met. But I'm not going to say too much about that. But, in a nutshell, I feel like a man should always be real with the woman. I feel like a man should always be honest about his intentions. And if you are not ready to be committed, you shouldn't be having multiple relationships with multiple women. Because I feel like that's deceitful. Like, most women with common sense, most women with a brain that think, they're not going to, want to engage in casual, especially if they're looking for a spouse. Like, if you're not married and you want to get married one day, like, you don't got time to, like, just sit around and guess what this man is about. No, you want him to give you a full disclaimer of who he is as a man. You know what I'm saying? Like you want a man to be honest. Like, instead of lying about his intentions, like, just be real. Like, they expect us to be honest. Men expect us to be honest and open about, who we are and what we got going on. And the minute they find out the truth, they out. They're like, peace. As soon as they find out the truth. That's if a woman lies, they're out. But they expect you to stay stuck. And they expect you to just take whatever they give. And it's like, no, you gotta be honest from the beginning. Like, listen, I'm not looking for nothing serious. I'm just looking for somebody I can have fun with from time to time. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's somebody out there for someone. Another thing is, if you are looking for a real relationship, be real about it. Be real, like, I'm looking for a real relationship. I'm looking for somebody that I can settle down with, build a life with. But it just seems like nowadays, it's kind of hard to meet men like that. I mean, this is just based off my personal experience. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think about that. Like, the first thought, thoughts on women using their pussy as revenge. The second, topic was men giving full disclaimers, just giving real details about who they are. Just things right off the bat. Like, for one, one thing that he can say, I got multiple kids by different women. I got 5 kids by 3 women. Be honest about something like that. Or, if you want a sexual relationship, be honest. Like, I'm just looking for somebody I can have fun with from time to time. If you're looking for something serious, be honest. I'm looking for somebody I can have a serious relationship with. Another disclaimer a man can give is, maybe something about his past, maybe something that he did in the past, like, if he went to prison at one point, or, if he served in the army, something like that, just something that, that's very important for a woman to know about him, so that way she can go about the dating process with him smoothly, or easier. That's just all I'm saying. But anyways, guys, my next topic is
the best place for creators to make.
Okay, we're gonna go to commercial. Right now, we're gonna go to commercial. At this moment, we're gonna go to commercial.
Be really successful.
I have 12,000 followers, and I'm able to make 6 figures with Kajabi.
Okay, guys. I'm sorry about the commercial break. I might cut that out. I don't want you guys to think I'm amateur, but I am just starting off, so I really do appreciate all the support. My next topic is age gaps in dating. What do you guys think about age gaps? What do you guys think about women in their 30s dating men in their 20s? What do you guys think about older men dating women, like men in their 40s, 50s dating women in their 20s? What do you think about men in their 40s dating women in their 30s? What do you think about women in their 20s dating men in their 60s? All types of age gaps. I'll say one thing. This is my opinion. There's different categories. There is the rock baby, the cradle robber, which is the older woman or the more seasoned woman or the more they call cougar when they date men like way younger than them. Like, for example, like maybe a woman in her 70s dating a man in his 30s, or maybe a woman in her 60s dating a man in his 20s. You know what I'm saying? That's one example. Another, for me, I feel like I'll just be honest. To each his own. I know that if I had a son, I would prefer him to marry a woman maybe no older than like 5 years older. Depending on where he is. If he's in his 20s, he should stick to a woman in her, no more than like. Honestly, I think that it just depends on the man. Like, if he is well established, there's nothing wrong with him dating whoever he wants to date. But as far as like maybe a woman in her 30s, I mean, it all depends. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. There's some women who date men in their 20s. There's some it's some men in their 30s that date women in their 20s. It just all depends. Then you got some men that in their 40s that date women in their 30s and 20s, and then you got some older men that date men like in their 60s that date women in their like 30s and 20s. It just all depends. And then you got the sugar babies, and then you got the sugar daddies. For me, I feel like there's nothing wrong with a sugar baby having a sugar daddy, as long as you both have an agreement. As long as he has an agreement with you and you have an agreement and you guys come together with that agreement. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. What do you guys think about that? Age gaps in dating. I could talk all day about this, but it's really about who you have a connection with. Everybody. Some people don't have connections with people their same age. Some people connect with people older than them. Some people connect with people younger than them. It all depends on that individual. Everyone's different. All right, my next topic. This is a tough one, guys. I'm not gonna talk too much about this because I really don't want to say too much. Because honestly, I'm not a religious person, but I'll be honest. My next topic is one night stands. What do you guys think about one night stands? I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in God. I don't believe in one night stands. But this topic is actually going to tie into my next topic, my very last topic. I had to save the best for last. I feel like it needs to be talked about. It's not talked about enough, I don't think. But one night stands, I don't believe in them. I don't like them. I feel like you feel like I don't have any value. And vice versa. If the woman is okay with the one night stand, I feel like she doesn't have any value. She feels like there's no value. She's of no value, or the man is of no value. And I don't believe in that. Everyone's opinion is different, to each his own, but I just don't believe in it. Now, this one ties into the next topic, my very last topic. I had to save the best for last. Men that stand you up. I was going to say the other word. I was going to say ninjas, but The other word for ninjas, but I'm gonna try not to use that word on here. But men that stand you up. I don't want to get on here and sound bitter, but I don't like men like that. I feel like men that stand you up, they used you. They basically used you just for a good time, and they could have just been real from the beginning. Like, this is what I'm looking for. They made a decision for you. You didn't make the decision to be a one night stand. Like, who does that? Like, that's something you do when you like in your 20s, and really you shouldn't be having sex till you get married. That's just my opinion. But if things happen, sometimes things happen. I get it. I'm not perfect. I don't have a perfect past, but I don't like men that stand you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm too much of a queen. We're too much of queens for men to do us like that. It's like, it's a spiritual thing. It makes me feel like you feel like I have no value, But I'm not going to go into deep about this, but here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics today. Thoughts on the first one. The very, very first thought was thoughts on women using their pussy as revenge. Do you guys think it's revenge if a woman, what are your thoughts about it? I said what I said earlier, I'm gonna round it out. I just feel like if a woman is in a committed relationship, whether she's married or in a long-term relationship, she should not cheat just because she's angry. But if she's not in a committed relationship, she's just in a friendship, you guys are friends, but you guys, maybe from time to time, or, whatever you guys do, if she decides to move on and vice versa, he decides to move on, what is she supposed to do? Stay stuck on him and wait for him to get his shit together? No, she gotta keep going. My second topic is men giving you full disclaimers. Men telling you if important things, essential things about them when you first meet them, just to, help you go through this whole dating process with them easier, smoother. The third topic is age gaps in dating. What are your thoughts on age gaps in dating? My thoughts are, you love who you love, you like who you like, you don't like who you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's different. I like older men, but I don't like granddaddies. I don't like no granddaddies. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound rude. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I'm not into granddaddies. I'm still in my 30s. If anything, I want a man that's not, no more than it's still in my age gap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but, that's all I'm saying. Third topic, one night stands. I don't agree with them. What are you guys' thoughts about it? And then my last topic, men that stand you up. I don't like men that stand you up. Men, just be real. Just be real about your intentions. Stop lying to us and just be real. It's nothing. You don't gotta lie. You don't have to lie. You're not committed to me. You don't have to lie to me. Don't stand me up. Don't stand her up. Don't stand them up. Just be real about your intentions. Be real. You just be a real man. If anything, try to get some type of agreement with the person. You never know. But anyway, it was nice talking to you guys. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Again, thank you so much. Tonight, you're here with NECA Agnes Wachuku on Podcast Diaries. Have a blessed night. See you next time. Talk to you guys next time, or maybe next time you guys hear me next time. Whenever I do post it. Have a blessed night.